unlimited powered version 3.0.
Hey guys, today I'm back with an update to my unlimited powered wizard build. In my opinion, this is the strongest PvE build for the wizard class, and in this update I managed to achieve more than double the damage of my previous build, so there's going to be a lot to cover. So I'm going to start off with a 1-minute damage test.
Look at this! No, he's just spamming the buttons. Oh, that's crazy. So whenever I played the wizard, like spamming the buttons like this, I was like, nah, bro.
That's really quick. Something worth mentioning about running damage tests on the dummy is that your character position is extremely important. So you can see my starting position here. Basically, I ran hundreds of damage tests, just testing out all kinds of different things last week. And even without changing anything in my setup, just running different damage tests back to back, I had quite a bit of variance in the damage output simply based on where my character was standing at the start of the test. So for this version,
so if you're gonna face the boss, you gotta be on his ass. Okay, that's what you have to do.
Showing today, I had results ranging from 19 million per second to about 23 million per second over a 1-minute damage test, which is pretty impressive. Another thing which I want to mention is that when you make changes to your character with slight differences to your gem setup,
bro, this is crazy. Chad, just take a like 5 seconds and look at this. Look at these buttons. These seems like painful to play.
Your magic attributes, it can actually have a huge impact on the overall result, and some choices which I've made in this video might not be the best choices for you depending on what you choose to go with there, but just equipping the same
depends on your wrists, chat. So if you're a young dude and your wrists are fine, yes, you play this build. If not, never mind.
Essence and the same skills isn't going to be enough to give you the best results, so please watch the full video carefully. I'm going to have a section where I talk about all of the choices that I've made and the reason behind them, and if you're not quite doing as much damage as I've shown here, then please do watch that section. But for now, I'm going to look at the damage breakdown that I have here. So as you can see from a 1-minute damage test, I had about 23 million damage per second with a total of 1.4 billion.
It is pretty even. If we see here, it is pretty even. I kind of like it.
Damage done. So here you can see that the majority of the damage is coming from Lightning Nova and Arcane Wind, and both skills have about equal damage, which is almost 500 million, and then Disintegrate is just behind them with about 100 million damage less, and then Electrocute, which is the primary attack, isn't doing that much damage, but that's not the real purpose of it. The crazy thing about this damage output, which I haven't mentioned yet, is that I'm only running with about a 3k resonance setup, and this is actually a lot lower than my maximum resonance, which is about 5.5k. I think it's really important to actually take a look at the damage breakdown so you can see exactly where the damage is coming from. Usually when I run these damage tests, I do like to have the breakdown actually open so you can see if your skills are...
I kind of want to build up an Entropic Well. That's a one side that just boosts your skill damage by a lot, especially like in skill-based builds. It is super important. I think I'm going to build it up soon.
Doing damage properly, because if you're not positioned in the right way, like I said, your skills might be misfiring and not actually hitting the dummy targets. The way that I'm going to structure this video is that I'm going to show everything that I'm using for the build, then I'm going to show the build in action in a challenge dungeon, then I'm going to have a really important section and talk more in depth about the choices that I've made as well as the most important magic attributes. Then I'm going to have a small section where I talk...
I will split some sections into different videos so it doesn't get too long. Okay. So let's skip a bit here into the essence.
Your skills and just do an insane amount of damage. So the key essence of this build is the helmet essence, which is the terminus facade. If you...
This is like the carpal tunnel, carpal tunnel head essence.
If you don't have this helmet, then you basically can't get this build to work. This is the most important part of the helmet, and I'm not going to spend all this time to bore you, but basically what it does is it allows your slow time to basically reset your cooldowns for every other skill that you spam. And for the chest essence for Lightning Nova, I'm using the Isolated Storm, which gives the most amount of damage. For the shoulder...
If you guys see here, like in the back, is using like 4 out of 4 Lightning Nova increase the attack speed, so it's giving him like 32% attack speed just based on this.
Chest essence for Lightning Nova, I'm using the Isolated Storm, which gives the most amount of damage. For the shoulders and pants, I'm using the War Mage Mantle for Disintegrate, and I'm using Hasten Oblivion, which is going to reset all of the cooldowns. And then for the main hand, I'm using the Eye Plucker, which works with electric...
What is the difference? What is the difference between this build and the other one? Because it seems like very similar.
And gives us the shock effect, which we need. And this shock effect is crucial because we're using the Trifling Piffle offhand, and what this allows allows us to do is give us more lightning novas when it hits a shocked enemy, which is really good. And then for the last skill, which is Arcane Wind, I'm using 2 essence, which is Mistral Rend and the Blood of the Wind, which is going to give us a really nice damage on the Firestorm. So I've gone through most of these essence before. The only differences I've made compared to my previous version is I've went back to Disintegrate with the War Mage Mantle, because I believe that honestly,
because I was getting so confused. I was like, what are the changes? Because like this seems like almost like the same build.
With the Haste and Oblivion pants, this just allows us to spam the most, because the Haste and Oblivion, what it says is that Disintegrate's cooldown is reduced by 1.6 seconds.
So the set bonus, it is the Vitus, then the Barons. Oh, he's using the Barons. That's interesting. The problem with the Baron is like this damage, it doesn't stack on the boss. That's like the only thing. And then the other one is 2 pieces Banquets. Okay,
which is really good. You can see I'm using this rank 7 Mother's Lament. I'll talk a bit more about my legendary gems and the reasoning behind them. But basically, since I actually went for more optimal gems, I could go for also more optimal sets. So this is what I mean by making different choices for your build, because when you actually change your gem setup, suddenly the most optimal sets might not be the same. So like I 100%. Said here, I actually am using the 2-piece of 𝙀𝙓𝙋𝘼𝙉𝘿 instead of the 4-piece, and I'll also explain why we don't need this 30% attack speed anymore.
I think it's because he's using the Lightning Nova attack speed. That's why he's removing this.
Later in the video, so be sure to watch until the end. Moving on now to talk about the legendary gems that I'm using. I'm using 3 5-star gems, so I'm using Bloodsoaked Jade, Void Spark, and then Roiling Consequence. They're all at rank 6, so not super high ranks, but obviously these are pretty expensive to get ranked up. And then for the 1-star gems, I'm using the Entropic Well. This was a pretty easy gem to rank up, and a really nice gem with the increased skill damage and increased skill attack speed, and I'll be talking more about this gem later in the video. And then as far as the next gem, I'm using Mother's Lament for the 2-star. I'm using Pain Clasp. I'm using Morn Skull, which honestly isn't required. It is a really good gem, don't get me wrong, but I know that a lot of people haven't got this one crafted, so you could always switch this out for Berserker's Eye if you don't have it. And then for the last gem, I'm using Fervent Fang. Another really good alternative to this would be the other Battle Pass gem, which is Grim Rhythm, but also if you don't have this, you could always switch it out for something else that you do have. So basically, what you want to focus with your gems is you want damage multipliers. This is extremely good. So I've got
you just multiply all the damage and you stack on top. Okay, so we know this part. What is the Reforges?
Next, let's talk about the Reforges. So for the Reforges, I haven't changed it up all too much. I'm still going for the 3 pieces.
Okay, he's using the standard one: loss of control, demons, attack speed, duration, and all skill damage. Some people, instead of all the skill damage, they use the critical hit damage, but I think it just because all these damage is based on skill, maybe he prefers that. I think that's what he's going for. Here they are using 6 pieces Detested, of course, and 2 pieces Lashed. Then for the runes, I mean, the runes is just like he's gonna say that the zoo is gonna give you crits, that this one's gonna explode, the other one's gonna give you the beneficial effect duration. He's using here wait a second, there's something interesting here. So he's using the Slinger Paragon for the crit, but also is using, I think this one is like the attack speed one. I'm pretty okay. Yeah, exactly. You periodically become overloaded, causing your next 5 primary attacks within 30 seconds, 60% primary attack speed, and this is probably why is actually not bringing the Vitus. That's probably what I think it is happening. Then here is using the attacker for the remnants. We know these also on the pets. So there is here if you guys want to take a screenshot of the build, this is how it looks. You have the Terminus Facade, War Mage Mantle, Isolated Storm, Eye Plucker, Blood of the Wind, Wasteland Oblivion, Mistral Rend, and also the Trifling Piffle. These ones are, I feel like I don't think he's even using any Inferno 5 instance, right? I don't think he is. So let's see here one run to see
Inferno 5 dungeons, especially if you do get the sacrificial power. I would recommend you to back out and just restart this. So we got Rain of Fire and S class, so not the best because you will have a bunch of elites, but let's just see how this goes. To be honest, I'm not expecting so much, but hopefully my damage just carries me through.
You know what is funny is that because I am a creator, I know that he went on the settings he went on the settings and he scrolled down here on the interface and put it like, okay, tiny numbers, no, big numbers, boys, put it large for the video, man. Listen, this is something that creators do. This is just a behind the scenes, but it's just funny because like whenever you put it large, it just does like these massive numbers. But I don't think anyone plays like this.
So you can see it is melting through these elites pretty quickly. Just have to be careful of that laser there. So a lot of numbers on the screen. It's kind of hard to see what's going on. Most of the time I'm playing with numbers off, but I did turn them on here just for the video so you guys can see.
More! Turn on the DPS meter, man. I'm edging.
I'll actually switch over to the damage tab as well.
Oh, so thank you. Thank God. Thank God.
So there we go. I'm down to 20 million damage, which is kind of insane. Just have to be careful to actually dodge some of these. So if you are playing a melee class with the reduction to damage, you won't have to be paying as much attention. But since I am wizard, which is a very squishy class, have to be really careful here. I don't really like these mages because they have this after death effect there. So down to half of my health, but I'm gonna heal up. But
chat, this looks pretty good, but you know, the only thing that doesn't look good, it is the spam.
A lot of people have been asking me how to deal with
this. I feel like this seems unplayable on mobile. It absolutely seems unplayable on mobile. I'm sorry. Like here on the keyboard, I can do like 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2, like very fast, but man, on the mobile you only have one thumb. It's like, are you using like a software or something, or like how can you do this fast?
Deal with sacrificial power if you do get it with this build or a similar build. And the way I can say is what you can do is you can actually just press your primary attack and that will still do a lot of damage by itself. And don't press your slow time. You can press your other skills.
Bro, I just think it's so funny that we have the giant numbers, man.
Like the Lightning Nova, the Disintegrate, and the Arcane Wind, but don't press them like in a spammy way, just press them every once in a while so you still do damage. And you'll find that even like that, playing the build like that, it still does do excellent damage compared to some other wizard builds. So you don't always have to be going crazy with the spam. If you don't want to play it like that, you can play it a bit more relaxed, but to get the most damage.
Imagine playing this build with the sacrificial power debuff. Oh my god. Yeah, that's almost, it's like unplayable, right? Like, can you actually play with it? Maybe you're gonna have to use like a lot of primary attacks and all these things. Otherwise, I just don't see it happening.
Damage out of it, you do want to be spamming, so I'm gonna try to get this guy killed without...
It's like you're popping off all these dungeons, and then there is the sacrificial power, and then like the wizard is just like, book, book, book. You know, sending the primary attack.
Stick, so here we go. Just died instantly there. So I'm going to start to preemptively strike here. You do also want to watch out for your positioning. I'm going to show, so try to hit all three of them here, but you do have to be careful because these guys do spin. And okay.
Yeah. The survivability is still an issue.
Try to dodge some of their attacks here. There we go. There's also the Rain of Fire from the modifier, and that's a bit annoying. So
I think what he did is like over time he just perfected his build, you know, and he created like this version that, you know, like by min-maxing a certain things here and there, he's just like making even more damage.
The usual,
which is
my
nice.
inventory is full when doing this. So that's the usual, to be honest. I'm never really good with inventory management. But what I will be doing is I will be sharing another variation of this build, which is a bit more tanky, because as you can see, this is kind of hard to survive because I have dropped my resonance quite a bit. And for low resonance players or players that just want to survive in harder content like the Oblivion Pillars and such, there will be another build which will make you kind of invincible and will still be doing excellent damage. So here we go. Let's just see how this does on Sargoth. Hopefully I don't die at the end here. And
ooh,
there we go. He just completely...
But you know what? Ma did this alone faster than sometimes I do with parties. That's how much, you know, like having higher resonance and having higher stats and everything, your build a completely mid-max, it makes a huge difference.
completely melted at the end there, which is really insane. So I'm not going to say that was easy because it is with a wizard after all, but still it does do excellent damage, and if you die once, I mean, it's not the end of the world. So there we go. Let's just salvage. Maybe I can pick up some.
It is listen, it is a good build, man. Probably it is a fun build to play like for a while if you just want to pop off like the maximum damage that you want. But me, in general, I prefer to go with something slightly a bit more chill. I really like the buffs and that, you know, like the Arcane Torrent and all these things. You just do like way less damage, obviously, but at least I can farm it like for a very long time. But it's always nice to see and find out like these crazy max DPS builds. So I want to take the Maw as always coming up with a clutch build. Let me go here and share it. Please go there, like and subscribe if you still didn't. Maw is a great guy, and he also comes with insane builds